Hey guys, thank you so much and welcome. This is Stefan Piscano with ListedBy.com and the Real Estate Networking Group. And I am excited, guys. We've got a really special event tonight. As you can see on the screen, we're going to be talking about crowdfunding with the team over at Patch of Land. Actually, we're going to be joined by the CEO of Patch of Land, Jason Fritton, who's going to walk through, kind of the core fundamentals about crowdfunding in general, a little bit about the Patch of Land story, some of the functionality that their site has. And then really the key that we're going to talk about tonight is about borrowers. And I'm also going to be joined by Doug, who's the senior underwriter for Patch of Land. And he's going to engage with you and myself in a live Q&A session at the end of the recorded portion of tonight's event. And what we're really going to do, guys, is walk you through step by step, piece by piece, the best practices to actually get your deals funded, how you can utilize crowdfunding to be able to get cash for your real estate transactions. And more specifically, Doug is going to walk us through exactly what you need to know to be able to utilize Patch of Land's platform to be able to get funding. And I know that from seeing a lot of the content on their site, from talking with these guys, getting to see it live up close and personal, there's literally several of their members that are getting funded in minutes within the time that they put their deals up there. So if you are an active real estate investor or real estate professional, this is definitely the event for you. And I definitely want to hear some specifics on opportunities that you have that quite frankly, we might be able to help you get funded. So if you do have questions that come up, even throughout the recorded portion, just type that in your chat box there, and then I'm going to make sure that Doug and myself get all of those answered tonight. What's kind of cool about this format is that the video is only about 15 to 20 minutes. So really tonight, guys, it's really going to be a live interaction between you and us, and we really want as many questions as possible. So again, the framework is going to be how you can get funding for your deals as a borrower, how to utilize crowdfunding as a borrower, but really any questions that you have that come to mind about crowdfunding or the Patch of Land platform in general, we definitely would love to hear from you. So I'm going to let everybody trickle in because we've sent a few reminder emails out and we've got a lot of you flowing in, and I know it's just after dinner time in many parts of the country, so we want to give everybody a sec to relax. But I'm going to play this video where Jason Fritton actually sat down yesterday with Al Schweitzer, who's the Senior VP of Marketing for ListedBy, and they really talked about the core functionality of the site, where the platform's mission statement is, and some key things that a lot of us as real estate investors can definitely benefit from. So we'll be silent for about 15, 20 seconds here as people trickle in, and we'll play the video, and then we'll get into the real fun stuff with the live Q&A.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Fritton. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Patch of Land. We're one of the industry leaders here in crowdfunding real estate, which is this whole new industry that sprung up with the advent of the passage of the Jobs Act of 2012 that allows us to take these type of investments and bring us online. And really today we just kind of wanted to go through what the opportunity was for a real estate professional who's looking to scale his or her business and really trying to take it to the next level. How can we help? How can this entire new industry change things? And it really has been a transformational movement here in real estate investing, and we're right at the forefront of it. So let's start right into it then. With real estate, what's always been the biggest problem in getting a project done? I mean, a lot of people are going to say, hey, well, finding the right project, is the biggest problem. And I probably agree with you on that front. But once you have that vision, that project, that dream, what's the next step from there? Realistically, the issue has always been, finding the funding. How do you grow, your company from doing a project a year to 10 projects a year to 100 projects a year or more? And that's really just been being able to have a good reliable access to capital, not just this one time, but being able to know, hey, if I put money down on the courthouse steps, or if I put earnest money into a particular property, am I going to be able to fund this thing? And that's really where we can help out. So as you can see here, the problem in the past has really just been the lack of access. The investors out there, and there are tons of them. Real estate, especially here in the United States, has an enormous appeal to investors. It's traditionally been one of the biggest, most lucrative investment asset classes available out there. But unless you know the real estate professionals, you have those type of connections, those networks, or huge amounts of money, it's always been very difficult for investors to really get involved in the quality projects. And on the real estate professional side, because of the hyperlocal and fragmented and dark and opaque and often predatory world of real estate financing, you often haven't had the access to the investors in the first place. You've been limited going in and finding a hard money lender, maybe or friends and family that will participate on a JV side that really is unreliable. There's been that disconnection there. The investors didn't know the real estate professionals, the real estate professionals didn't know the investors, and that's a problem, because I'm sure you've all heard that if you've got a big idea or a dream, there's a million other people out there that believe the same way you do, and that's where we come in. We're working to bring together those people that all believe in the same way to make a great project happen. The investors have capital to invest. They're looking for a good rate of return. They haven't seen a great performance in a traditional portfolio, and they're looking to get involved in real estate. They understand real estate. The borrower, the real estate professional, has very little access to capital, at least on a consistent basis. And you don't want to spend all your time raising the money in the first place. And the banks aren't going to play in this area, as we all know. Even if they do, and you're lucky enough to get a mortgage that's taken 6 months to arrange, you cap out after a while. So that's where we come in. So we're a patch of land. We sit kind of in the middle between the investors and the borrowers, our real estate professionals. We will work with the professionals to find out what their project actually is. We'll underwrite the project itself, and if we believe in it, we'll fund it. And then we bring it out to the investors, and the investors are able to diversify and just put in small amounts of money. And because there's so many investors all putting in smaller amounts of money, it adds up very, very quickly. That's the real power of the crowd. And through this, we're able to make a really good project happen, whether it's a rehab or a fix and flip, or refinancing, cash out, or purchase, even bridge and mezz financing. We can make it happen very, very quickly in as little as 5 days. So who are we actually working with right now? The simple answer is that's professionals. We're looking for real estate professionals who've got a good track record, who know what they're doing, who understand the local market, who understand their local asset classes. They tend to be experts, in whatever it is that they're actually investing in, whether it's a single-family residential property, a small multifamily, a mid-sized multifamily, storage units, shopping malls, whatever it actually is, we can help with that. And we're looking for the experts who have experience dealing with those type of properties, those type of projects. And they're individuals that are looking for capital on a constant basis. And we're looking to build partnerships on our side. So we want to make sure that we're available to fund a project today and fund a project tomorrow and fund a project next year. And we'll fund, in one part of the city as well as the other parts in different states. And eventually we'll even fund overseas. We're just not quite there yet. So the benefits themselves to our real estate professionals is, one, you get access to a huge pool of capital. We have over 16,000 retail investors on the platform itself. They span everywhere from dentists in Kalamazoo to financial professionals out of New York, and everybody in between. And we also have some of the big heavy hitters too. So we've got the hedge funds and the PE companies, we have the pension funds and so on that can also invest. So what that allows us to do is to really, really massively expand your capital network to a huge, huge pool. But in the end, that's all worthless unless it's easy, right? So we're working to be as streamlined as possible. So there's as little brain damage on your part when you're deciding who to go with. You know what our credit box is. You know what our requirements are, and it's simple. And you know that you can get funding in a week or so. And we work to be very, very competitive. We're proud of the fact that we're generally at least a point or two underneath the local options in each market that we go into. And we're about 15 states now. We'll be about 30 states here by the end of the year. And we're fast. We're a little bit different from some of the other crowdfunding companies out there in that we use our own money up front. So we find the people and the projects that we believe in, and we can promise a close date. We can say, hey, we'll have this approved here by the middle of the week or the end of the week, and I'll have this closed by Friday. So you don't have to worry too much about us merchandising it, showcasing it out to the crowd before you get your funding. You know that we can work with you up front. And one of our biggest values is transparency. We don't hide fees or anything in there. It's just traditional stuff. And we don't charge prepayment penalties. So you can be in and out as quickly as you want to, and then we roll it over into your next project and whatever you actually need to do. And this has the consequence of gaining you some national exposure for your business and your brand. In the end, you're going out to thousands and thousands of people online on the internet, and very, very wealthy people are seeing this, as well as everyday folks, as well as some, like I mentioned before, the real big capital heavy hitters like the hedge funds. So you have the ability to kind of bring your name way out there in the public limelight. So by the time you're up to doing 50, 100, 100 plus projects a year, or whatever it actually is, the big guys already know who you are, and it makes it much easier to transition to the next stage of your business. And it's easy to replicate. So once we know you, we understand who you are and what your capabilities are. It's very, very easy just to transition that funding into another property or continue to add funding for a different project. So it's, to start, very, very simple. Go online at patchofland.com. Just a 5-minute loan application. All it's really telling us is a little bit about yourself and what you're looking to do. And then usually within an hour, but at least within the next 24 hours or so, one of our loan officers will reach out to you directly, get a little bit more information from you, and basically be your advocate and moving the process forward. And they're incentivized to make sure that it's as easy and as fast for you as possible. And then we'll collect the different documents. We'll take a BPO or an appraisal, your LLC papers, whatever might be required there. It'll run through the due diligence process. We're a technology-enabled company, so we're able to make that very quick and very easy. And then once we get the green light, we'll go ahead and pre-fund. We'll do that right at closing before we bring out to the crowd. And after that point, you're set to go. Your project is moving forward. We will deal with all the investors, so you don't have to deal with that particular headache. But it is important to keep the investors updated. These individuals and entities want to make sure that they know what your vision is, what your plan is. So the more you keep everybody updated, the easier it is for them to fund you the next time, because they know you and they know what your capabilities are. And so this is just a screen that kind of looks at our basic part of our borrower application. As you can see, it's very easy. And just drop downs, you can complete it in minutes. It's not a problem at all. And at that point, you're set up with your own dashboard. So you can go in and see how quickly the crowd is filling out your loan, or is funding your loans. And you can watch it, as essentially the magic happens. You get your customized dashboard. It'll go through all the loans that you have with us, all of your projects, and how much the investors actually like it. So we make it very, very easy. And we're also 100% mobile responsive. We're one of the only companies that in the crowdfunding sphere that is completely mobile responsive at this point. So you have the ability to upload documents or pictures or anything for your particular project as you're moving forward and completing rehab or whatever you may be doing on that particular project, even right on your cell phone. To make it as simple and as straightforward as possible, and we're getting better in that on a day-by-day basis. And that builds your brand. As we mentioned earlier, you get exposure to thousands and thousands of investors. And as they get to know you, it becomes very, very simple to get your next projects funded. This isn't like going to the hard money lender down the street and getting them to know you. You'll end up with thousands or tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of high-end investors that will know your capabilities, will know your brand. I have an individual that's worked with us for a while now. We've funded, I believe, about 12 or 13 of his projects so far. And the investors know him and his company so well that his projects sell out in minutes as soon as we launch on the site, because the investors know what they're capable of. And that's really, really valuable for investors, just even outside of the funding itself, to be able to have that kind of network going forward, even if you choose not to use this in the future for whatever reason. So I wanted to go over quickly just a case study that we had with one of our bars, just as a basic example of how we're able to help. We had an individual, a developer named Michael Corkian, actually, in Chicago, and very, very prolific real estate investor, real estate professional that owns a brokerage with 50-plus agents, does a lot of work there in the Chicago area, and is very, very good at what he does and has a great team. The problem is there's only so much capital that was available. He got capped out with the banks and wasn't able to reliably count on the hyper-local fragmented private money lenders that were in the area there. So he came to us to see what we could offer. He submitted his Windy City refinance and rehab project, and it was a good project. We are not a traditional lender in that we're just going to look at the numbers itself, and we do a lot of make sense underwriting. If we can wrap our head around the projects, it means our investors are going to be able to as well. So we were able to underwrite that very quickly and very well. We pre-funded the loan within a few days. Got it closed, got a title right there in Chicago. And at that point, we hosted it up on the platform itself and syndicated it out to the crowd. And people like Chicago, people like the cities in general, our investors love it. So it very, very quickly funded. And Michael has been an absolute ideal partner for us as well, because part of the appeal for our investors is that they get to feel like they own a patch of land or a piece of the planet somewhere that they may not even live. And they get to engage with a particular project. So Michael helps out with that by providing a lot of updates, both on a regular and also a periodic basis as well. So sends a lot of before and after, some videos, talks about what he's planning to do, and even about the next projects that he's going to move forward with to kind of set things up to fund fast in the future. And we found out that our investors absolutely love them. There's some of the best traction we get with updates out to our investors on the individual projects. We found that if you provide some information out to our investors, they will go through every single piece of it. And they'll absolutely love it. So he's become an absolute favorite of our investors. And here on the screen is just a particular update that we post out to our crowd. This is a $450,000 loan or investment that we funded, and it was listed out at about $740,000. And it worked. He ended up selling that, being very, very, very successful with it, a good amount of money on it. And we moved then back onto the next project as well. So we're able to transition very quickly from one to the next. We're able to show our investors all the documents that Michael had given us. And after it was paid off, we sent out a notice to everybody in our list, tens of thousands of people at this point, letting you know that this particular developer, this particular development company had pulled it off a very, very successful project. So we worked hard to continue to brand him and continue to brand his company, and we're going to do so in the future. And that's going to help him out now. It's going to help him out when his next loan gets funded. And in the end, it's going to help him out just in the long run as his brand gets known, and he builds that financing network that's going to help him move from doing the project volume that he's doing today to many, many times that in the future. We even put on webinars with Michael. We've had high-level journalists contact him. We're getting a lot of press, so we make sure to send some of that press to our professionals' ways as well. In fact, we just had a story written up in the Chicago Tribune, I believe, even that we're going to get a cover on the real estate section here this Sunday. And Michael was interviewed for that. We make sure that every time, as we get the Wall Street Journal or Fortune or the Tribune or the LA Times or whatever it actually may be, that we bring our real estate partners into that as well and share some of that press with them. And Michael's been really, really happy with that. So in the end, this is all about building a partnership to make really great projects happen and provide access between the investors who are looking to get involved but may not have those particular connections already, and the real estate professionals who need the help of those investors but who are skilled enough to be able to manage the project on their own. It is still their project. And that's really the basis of crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending. As you can see here is one of our favorite sayings we have here in the office, kind of sums up exactly what we're doing here with crowdfunding. If you want to go quickly, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And what we're doing is we're bringing together that crowd of thousands and thousands of people to let you accomplish something that really you'd have a very, very difficult time doing by yourself, at least reliably. And that's really what we do here with Patch of Land. If I would encourage anybody that's looking for some more information to check us out at patchofland.com/listedby. A couple of white papers there. You can look more into us. You can see all of our projects actually on the site as well, as you can kind of see specifically what we do. And you can also reach out to us here at any time. You can talk to me personally. You can talk to any of my executives. You can talk to our underwriters, our loan officers, whatever you need to do. And we're here to help you. And you can reach us at 888-959-1465. And if you'd like, ask to speak with me. I'd be very happy to talk with you.
Hey guys, okay, Stefan Piscano back live with you here, and wow, I got to tell you guys, I actually personally had not seen the full interview myself yet because it just happened yesterday with Al and Jason. And I got to tell you, the extra mile that they go, and you hear about him talking about the relationship with Michael, one of their borrowers, I think really speaks to something that we all should be excited about as real estate investors, because unlike any platform that I've ever seen before, what I think is key about what they do is they're not just looking to fund a deal, they're looking to build a relationship with you. And you heard what Jason said. They didn't just fund the deal and put their backing financially behind this guy. They actually, after the deal was funded by the crowd, they promoted him and his brand and his company free of charge, because if you have success as a borrower, it helps them, it helps crowdfunding, and it helps the success of the platform as a whole. So I think that's really astonishing. And any one of you out there, which I'm sure several of you are, that are active real estate investors or that want to be active real estate investors or have a track record there, that's the type of relationship that we want to build as well, because it's success breeds success. And obviously when both parties have skin in the game to make it successful for everyone involved, and that's going to be more intuitive. So in a moment, guys, we're going to get into the live Q&A. I'm going to be joined by Doug Cochran, who is really the guy you want to see, because he's the senior underwriter for Patch of Land, and he's the one that decides if you guys get money or not, I believe. So definitely have all those questions coming through. We've got a lot of great ones that came on throughout the webinar. I want to make sure, and a lot of you that have joined us on some of our other crowdfunding webinars that we've done with Jason and Patch of Land already know this, and you've heard the whole backstory, but I want to make sure that I reiterate that you're dealing with someone in Jason Fritton that was one of the lobbyists that actually took the crowdfunding movement to Washington and really pushed to get this through. And I think their story is just so organic, and I just love everything that they've been able to do from a technology standpoint to really take real estate funding into the digital age and make it seamless. And I couldn't be more excited to to do this with you guys tonight. So without further ado, I am going to shut up and introduce my friend Doug here. I'm going to take you off mute, Doug. And how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
I can. You guys make me jealous because you all have better phone voices than I do.
Thanks.
Well,
thank you very much, Stefan, for having me on, and Jason as well. Like I said, I am a senior VP of underwriting for a patch of land, and I'm here to help out and answer any questions that the audience may have.
That's fantastic. And Doug, it's kind of neat because you were one of the first people that I met with Patch of Land. I met you at one of the real estate events that you guys go to. And I remember talking with you just a little bit about the criteria that you look for in funding a deal. And I think maybe before, as the questions start flowing through here, before we get into the one-on-one, maybe talk about a piece that I think is really profound that you guys do that stood out to me, which is I know you actually take a common sense lending approach, is I think the way you put it to me, and you don't just look at the numbers, you try to look at the person that you're dealing with and their experience and that track record that they bring as a real estate professional as well. Is that right?
That's correct. We really do kind of pride ourselves on doing make sense underwriting. We have our guidelines, for LTV, ARV, things like that. But an important part of what we do is, we're really looking at our borrower as well. We want to work with investors who are experienced and know what they're doing, and with that also comes with we're credit friendly, I like to say. We don't look just at credit scores, but we look at the credit as a whole and each individual line in the credit report, because we think that tells a story. We don't want to discount a borrower just because he's had some a rough patch, particularly back from 07 to 11. If you were in the real estate game at that time, you definitely had some dings on your credit, and we don't want to discount that. If you're also bringing a lot of experience with you as well. So we look at the overall package. We look at we try to weigh the risks and the mitigants with each individual deal, because not every deal is a vanilla deal. Matter of fact, I don't think there are any vanilla deals. So that's why I think it takes a holistic approach really to look at each individual loan as it comes across our desk.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, and I might have told you this story. I know I mentioned it to Jason when we talked on one of the webinars that we did. I mean, my real estate mentor taught me the majority of the stuff that I know, and was worth probably, I don't know, $60 million at the peak. He ended up filing bankruptcy after the crash and, had a real tough time, as millions of us did. And, his credit's so bad that he can't get a gas card now. But the guy's still a multimillionaire, and he's had a track record for 40 years and so on and so forth. So I love that people like that and people on a smaller scale in between have the opportunity to, to have you judge it on the merits. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to dive right in here. I've got a few good questions here that came in from Gary, actually.
All right, let her rip. Let's see what we got.
Sounds good. I like the confidence. And this is one that I was going to ask anyway, but Gary did it for me. Actually, Gary asked like 5 questions here, so you'll be hearing his name a lot. But Gary commented on the fact that you guys initially fund with your own money, and maybe you can talk about how that structure works and how Patch of Land's involved in the funding process specifically.
Yeah, great question, Gary. That's something that kind of makes us unique in the crowdfunding space. So what we do is we originate the loans, we underwrite them in-house, and then we come to the closing table with our own funds, so that our borrowers can get to work right away on their projects. They can get them purchased and get rolling on them. And then what we do is then we open it up to our crowd. and the crowd then comes in and invests in the properties. Once we do a write-up and put it up on the website, and I invite everybody to go to our website and register and go in and take a look at the projects that we do. It'll give you a sense of the types of projects we're doing and how it all works. But this way, with us doing the pre-funding, it allows our developers partners to get in there and get to work right away and not have to wait for the crowd to fund their deal and then we go to the closing table. And I think that's also an important thing because it instills confidence in both our borrowers and our investors that we're willing to put our own skin in the game and back our borrowers. Once we've done our underwriting and our due diligence and we feel confident that this is a great deal and a great borrower, we're willing to keep our own money in the game. If our crowd doesn't fill the project, we're still there. We're still there for our borrowers, and we feel confident that it's a great deal. So we're willing to keep our skin in the game. We've been fortunate enough that our investors agree with us and love our deals and our borrowers, and our deals typically tend to fill up very, very quickly. We just had the fastest one we filled up was it took about 18 minutes.
Wow.
Which was beat our previous record of 26 minutes, so we were pretty happy about that. But most of our deals typically fill up in about 24 hours.
That's crazy. Well, and it seems like, honestly, and even from the outside looking in and getting to know you guys and your model a little bit, Doug, the last several months that we've been working with you guys in different capacities, it seems to me like your technology is so strong and you've got this constant flow of interest from all of these savvy investors and institutional investors to some extent, and then you yourselves, that really, I know that when I've asked Jason before and I've talked with those members of your team, your biggest need right now is long-term relationships with borrowers. Would you say that's a correct statement?
It's always a need. I mean, it's a big thing. I come from a background of originating. I have a long background, but part of my background is originating. So I understand the importance of building relationships, and particularly with our borrowers. We're here to help support people in developing their business and growing their business. The developer who's doing 2, 3, 4 deals a year, we want to be there to help support him and grow his business so that he's doing 6, 8, 10 deals a year or more. So it's a big part of it, and the technology that we're developing is a big part of that as well, and helping enable us to have a smooth transaction from start to finish, a quick transaction as well, and to be able to instill confidence in our borrowers, to be open with our communication, and we're really big on transparency here from start to finish with our borrowers as well as with our investors. There's nothing to hide. We really feel like we're kind of pulling back the curtain, if you will, sure, to the magic of underwriting and lending in this space, and there's no real magic to it. I mean, it's hard work, it's dedication, it's proper underwriting and due diligence, and we're really trying to make this whole transaction transparent, and I think that helps foster strong relationships in doing that. It takes the guesswork out of the borrower. Will they get approved? Will they not? What are the issues? We can discuss them. We're open with them. Our borrowers have direct access to really any of our executives that they need. I've gotten to know most of our borrowers just through working on their loans and contacting them. Our loan officers, they stay in contact with the borrowers, and we keep in contact with the borrowers throughout the process. I mean, once the loan closes, the deal hasn't finished yet. We're still working with them with their draws and their renovations and things like that. So we're always in constant communication with them, and we're looking for updates from our borrowers as well. So we can post those on our website, and we for our investors, for the people who have invested in these projects, they get to see an update, and they get to see that their money's working for them, and they're excited. They want to know what's going on with the project. They want to know about the borrowers and the progress that's going on. That's part of, I think, the excitement of investing in real estate, and particularly in this space, because you get to really see what, you see the transformation of these properties. I think there is a sense of pride and accomplishment on everybody's part when you see a project get turned around and fixed up and sold, and it's somebody's home after that. That's there's a lot of pride in that, and I think that it goes through right from our borrowers, through us, through our investors. And we celebrate when a deal is completed, when somebody's able to sell the property that they renovated. We want to help celebrate that as well, and then help them move on to the next deal. So it is about relationships. I guess that's a long-winded talk about relationship and technology.
No, well, I'm loving it.
But true. It's really how we think around here. And the technology that we've built has really helped us, streamline the process. And it continues to do that, and we're continuing to make the process even easier and faster and more efficient. And I think that's, appreciated by everyone, the borrowers, the investors, everybody that's involved in the transaction. So,
well, Doug,
relationship.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I don't want to get too giddy over here, but and you might not even know this, but our core mission statement here, and what I just get just so hyped about what you guys do and what you just said. Our mission state with ListedBy from the beginning has been to take real estate into the digital age. And my backstory, I sold a few hundred homes on eBay, of all places. And so for me, and as somebody obviously that owns the largest real estate group on LinkedIn and being involved in social media, I just want to make sure everybody listening understands the massive value in what Doug's talking about, what Patch of Land does and what their framework does, because I'm living proof of what technology can do to amplify a real estate career and real estate returns. Because if it wasn't for eBay and if it wasn't for LinkedIn, for me, there's no way I would have made a fraction of what I've been able to generate in my career. And when I hear Doug talk and Jason talk about doing an email blast to your tens of thousands of members to celebrate a loan close, and referring your members over for interviews, things that's career making stuff, guys. So, I mean, it's not just that you're getting some cash and you're getting funding for your deal. I can tell you quite frankly, and this is just my personal opinion, Doug, but the publicity that you gave to that Michael Kavorian, I think that publicity is worth far more than the couple $100,000 or $400,000 that he raised with you in the long term, because he's going to have no trouble raising money from here on out because of the reputation that you guys have largely helped him build. So, kudos.
Yeah, well, again, it's a big part of it. Well, thank you. Again, it comes back to building relationships, and we want to do anything we can to make our borrowers successful and to, again, help grow their business and go to the next step. So if we can help a guy like Michael Kevorkian, we've had interviews with another borrower of ours down in Florida, another one in New Jersey. We're always looking for a new way of being able to grow and help and support our borrowers and the people who come here to get financing. It's more than just that.
The only I'm going to say is that guy's name reminds me a little bit of the Suicide Doctor. I'm a little bit freaked out by that, but I'm going to
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm sure he's quite well aware of it. But, he's actually he's a pussycat. He's a great guy, Michael. We've gotten to know him. He's actually got I think 2 projects with us right now, and one of them I believe is under agreement and will be closing in June.
Nice.
His first project with us. So he's a great guy. The name may be scary, but he's a good guy.
I like it. Well, I got a few good questions here that came in here. One here is from Charles, and this kind of is a nice generic question here. He says, what types of deals will you guys fund? Example, flips, rehab, 6 to 1 year funding. So maybe talk about what you will fund, anything that you might not, provide financing for, and what your sweet spot for funding is.
Yeah, sure. Great question. We have been, over the last year, we've been concentrating on 1 to 4 family properties. We've just expanded out into commercial. So we're getting into that as well. It's all debt-based. It's not no equity. We don't do JVs or partnerships or anything like that. It's just pure debt that we work with. Our average loan size is about $200,000, although we'll go up to as high as $5-10 million. Types of deals that we do are typically flips, the fix and flip kind of deal. A sample deal would be 25 to 30% down on the purchase price. We'll finance up to 100% of the reno budget, up to about a 65 ARV, give or take. We'll look at all the risks and the mitigants and weigh it out. If a guy's willing to put more down, maybe we'll go a little higher on the ARV, or we'll go lower ARV, or if they're putting less money down, that kind of thing. But we really try to work with the borrower and balance it all out. We do if you already own the property, we'll work with you on doing and you need reno money, we work with you on that. We do just first mortgages, no second mortgages. We don't allow for any second mortgages. Typical loan term is 12 months, interest only with no prepay penalties. We can go longer if we negotiate it up front. We'll allow for a 6-month extension. It depends on, and that really again depends on the scope of the project. If we know it's going to be a big reno, and we're expecting it to exceed 12 months, we'll work with you on that as well. What else? What else can I tell you?
I think that's great. I mean, and you guys, I think, and this was on the last webinar I did with Jason. It was right after you guys announced that you were just now funding commercial, correct? And I think you actually, I don't know, last time I talked to him about it, you guys were in the process of funding the largest crowdfunding deal ever. Did that actually get completed? I think it was like 1.8 billion. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, we did do that. It did get funded. We're very happy about that. We are into commercial now as well. For commercial deals, we're looking at apartment buildings and mixed use and anything. We're willing to look at everything. So if somebody has a deal that they have, that's a commercial deal, bring it forward. We're willing to take a look at it. We're looking at a 7-unit apartment building in Tennessee right now. We're looking at a mixed use in East Boston, a hotel in Missouri. I think that's like a 150 room hotel, so it's a decent sized hotel. And that'll be a couple $1 million there. So we're really looking at everything from a small mixed use to hotels.
Fantastic. Well, and guys, I think the moral of the story that I take away from it is, if it makes money, it makes sense, then send it to her. See what it is. Along those lines, Doug, I got a question here from Gwendolyn, which is one of my favorite names, by the way, Gwendolyn. And she says, is the 12% interest rate that I saw on the site typical of fix and flip deals, or is that across the board a fixed percentage?
That's a great question, Gwendolyn. What we do, I'm not sure which one you were looking at on the site, but we really try to stay competitive within each market. Each market is very different across the U.S. In California, deals are typically 10% deals. It's very, very competitive in California. In New York, New Jersey, it can be 12, 14%, depends on the deal. So yeah, every region really kind of is a little different on their rates. So we really try to stay competitive, excuse me, within that, as well as looking at the total deal and, the variable risks within a deal and the mitigants, of course. So, and the strength of the borrower, strength of the property, that kind of thing. We really kind of, again, take everything into account when we're pricing out a deal.
And is it that the crowd, to some extent, in each area sets the terms that they're willing to accept to some extent, or is it just you guys have done research and you know?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's based on our research and what's going on in each of the different markets that we're in. The crowd, the crowd loves 12%, of course. But, it's not really it's not based on what the crowd's looking for. It's really based on where the property is and again the different variables within the project itself and the strength of the borrower.
Perfect. Okay. I've got an interesting question here from Jerry, who says, is there a limit to how many deals you can have on the site with you at one time?
Yes, there is. That's a great question. Very insightful of them. Typically, right now, we're limiting borrowers to 5 deals. We want to, make sure that they're not getting in over their heads, that they can manage the properties properly, that we're seeing progress within the properties, during the draw schedules. That they're on time with their payments, things like that. So we just really try not to have our borrowers get overextended on things. As we grow, that may change. But right now, we try to just keep an eye on our borrowers, and we want to make sure that all smooth and everything's going well. Again, we want them to be successful, and we want to support them, and we don't want them to get overextended.
Yeah, again, and you guys are in for the long term, so that makes sense. Okay, I've got kind of a hybrid. I've got a lot of people that have asked similar questions here, so I'm going to kind of combine it into one. So can you maybe talk about how your financing compares to other traditional financing options and what the real benefits are?
Yeah, another great question. The biggest thing, well, again, if you're talking about traditional as far as bank loans, bank loans are going to be cheaper, but they're going to be harder to get and longer to get. A big reason the type of borrowers that we're working with are borrowers who can't either get traditional financing or they need speed of funds. And again, we're able to close loans in 10 business days pretty quickly. So that's a major benefit to us. Also, the availability of capital. When you're talking about other private lenders that may be local to an area, they're typically working with limited funds. And that's where we can step in and help the borrower there, because fortunately we have a lot of capital behind us. And that's not an issue. Whereas I know like a lot more of the local guys, they'll have limited capital.
Sure. I've been one of those local guys, so I can relate to that. So, yeah, there's only so much that one person could do. Yeah. And I'll throw on. What's that?
Yeah, I'd say it's not a bad thing. It's just a.
Oh no, it was a bad thing for me. I hate that was 5-6 years ago, and it made me want to hang myself. Being a anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
No worries.
I was just going to piggyback on that too, guys, because it's fresh in my mind, because we had another webinar earlier today on just real estate investing in general. And one thing that I think is key for us, it's a benefit that Doug touched on, is just speed. And most of us know, who are out there actively buying properties, submitting offers all the time, if you have to go through a bank and you've got to go through the many times 2-3 months of the process to go through their underwriting, their background. I mean, it's basically, nowadays, it's almost like you got to give the blood of your firstborn to get approved for a bank loan, and especially on commercial property. The good deals are not going to be available to you. And so to get the hottest deals that are frequently, you're competing against people who are offering cash, you really need to have a quick source. So to be able to get funding in less than 10 days, I think is probably the biggest benefit that I see that you guys offer, Doug.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And this is you kind of just answered this, but Cheyenne asked, is this considered private money, or would you consider yourself more loan brokers?
Consider us private money.
Okay.
Because we fund the deals ourselves. We're not brokering out loans. We have brokers. We have a relationship with brokers. So they're welcome to bring their deals to us again, because local guys might have limited access to capital. We absolutely welcome brokers to reach out to us and work with them. We're happy to establish that relationship and allow the broker to keep their relationship with the borrower as well.
Perfect. Next one here, kind of basic, but a solid one. Avi has a deal that he's looking to fund, and he wants to know what the appropriate process in, the easiest way to submit that deal to you for approval would be.
You can submit it through our website, sign up on our website and submit the deal that way. It gets automatically emailed to our loan officers, and one of the loan officers will pick up the phone and call. They're usually very quick about it. Either that, or you call in direct. You can certainly send deals my way. My email address is doug@patchofland.com, and I can have it forwarded directly to a loan officer immediately, and have them get in touch with the borrower right away and get the deal rolling.
Perfect. And guys, you can see too, I just pulled up on the screen here the patchofland.com site, and you can see it doesn't get much easier than that. They've got the borrower apply now right here on the homepage. So definitely. And what I love about these guys, which always amazes me, Doug, is how accessible you and Jason both are. Because I mean, you really are pretty willing to talk with anybody, I suppose, that has a question about working with you.
No, absolutely. Again, it's part of the transparency. I do get phone calls right to my desk for people who are just getting my phone number and getting my extension, and they're talking to me. So I do a lot of webinars and podcasts, and I invite people to email me any questions they have or scenarios that they may have, and we get on it right away. We're all open. There's really nothing to hide. And we want, these are people who, are running businesses and need answers quickly. So, we want to be on top of it and respond quickly to anybody who has a need. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, and I got just a few more questions, and then we'll let everybody either go to dinner or go to sleep, depending on what time. Brian said, what states are you most active in?
States that we're most active in right now are New Jersey, New York, Maryland, Illinois, Colorado, California, Florida, Maryland, Pennsylvania. What else? Did I miss any others? I think those are the most active ones. I think we're in 13 states total, so I might have missed one or two in there. North Carolina, that's another one that we're pretty active in as well. And we're looking to expand out. We're going to be expanding out into New England. I'm from the Boston area.
Oh.
I'm a recent transplant to Los Angeles last year, so I spent the last 25 years in Boston, so I know the market up there extraordinarily well.
How do you feel about the Tom Brady thing?
Tom's innocent.
I think so too, actually, to be honest with you. But all right, well, that's fantastic. Well, and Laura just asked quickly if you were able to do any loans in Georgia.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've already worked in Georgia. I knew I was missing a couple. Yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to do more in Georgia. So
Perfect.
send it on over.
Sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna do three more here, guys. So Gus asked, what percentage of loan applications would you say get accepted?
That's a great question, Gus, because that's kind of we're we're always trying to debate when is a loan a loan. We get a lot of loan submissions come through, and there's certain criteria that automatically dismiss a loan, whether it's the borrower's looking for 100% financing, or perhaps it's in a state that we don't lend in due to licensing, stuff like that. So just talking to the borrower, we already know right away whether a loan will qualify or not. So does that count as a denial? I don't know. I think it's more a little bit of a vetting process. We do look at quite a bit of loans, and I'll say we deny more loans than we approve. But that's not to say that we're stringent and tough. It's just it could be a number of things. I mean, we do due diligence once the loan is in process. Our due diligence is pretty stringent as far as we do a thorough background check on all of our borrowers' credit, as well as credit. We don't want to work with borrowers who have a felony background or any kind of really detrimental criminal background, anything to do with money laundering or fraud or anything like that. It can be something as simple as our minimum loan amount is $100,000. So we get a lot of people who come and inquire about loans, and unfortunately the loan is just too small for us. So that'll get a loan. I don't want to say denied, but just not qualify.
That was actually one of the next questions I was going to ask, so I'm glad you hit that one there.
I was expecting that question soon, so I figured I would toss it into that answer. But yeah, so our minimum loan amount is $100,000.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, and that makes sense, guys. And obviously, again, a lot of the people, if you see anyone out there that's talking about 100% financing, quite frankly, that person's probably never done a real estate deal. And if they are doing that, then they're probably not going to be doing them for very long, because those just really don't exist. I've never seen it that's real. So as far as serious common sense lending that are actually doing deals, I have personally not seen any outfit, whether a hard money lender or crowdfunding source, that gets deals done at the rate that Patch of Land does. I'll put it like that. So that's my personal opinion on it there. By the way, Doug, Gary, our most active questioner tonight, mentioned that he's also in Los Angeles. He's coming to see you. So,
fantastic! Come on by.
But
actually, funny you said that, because we did have one of our borrowers from New Jersey showed up in our office today. Out of the blue, and we had met him at a couple conferences, so we knew him, but he came knocking on our door today, which was pretty funny. I guess he's in town I was in meetings most of the day. I didn't get to say hi to him, but I waved to him through one of our conference room windows. So yeah, we have borrowers drop by.
I like it.
So come on by.
So, and Gary did ask, I know we kind of touched on this, but he did ask if you do any raw land funding at all that's about to be rezoned.
At this time, we do not do raw land. No, we don't do any new construction. It's got to be no ground up. Really, it's about fix and flips, renos, maybe repositioning a property, a commercial property or even a residential property, I suppose. But no ground up or raw land at this time.
I like it. Okay, my last question that I'm going to do tonight from the group is going to be, again, from Cheyenne. And Cheyenne said, what's the difference between crowdfunding and what we used to call syndication?
Well, syndication. Here's an interesting thing about crowdfunding, and this is kind of part of why we became who we are. Crowdfunding is opening it up to the crowd, whereas it's making investments that were currently never available to the general public. They're open to the public. Right now, we're working because of the Jobs Act. We're really only working with accredited investors, but these are investors who may or may not have had access to real estate investments like this, other than being in a REIT or something like that, where there's multiple properties within a real estate investment trust. Whereas here, it's individual properties, and it's open to accredited investors to come in and have an opportunity to invest in real estate that was previously not available to them. Whereas syndications were typically, prior to the Jobs Act, you couldn't solicit to people who you hadn't done business with previously. So syndications were typically done, more closed door and, people that you knew. So I think that was a major breakthrough with the Jobs Act and with crowdfunding and with real estate crowdfunding, which is what we're able to provide.
That's fantastic. Well, and again, the outside looking in, it really feels to me like one of the biggest pieces that you guys done that I just love. And everybody that's listening, if you haven't already done it, please go to thepatchofland.com/listed-by. Check out the website, check out the deals. I think that just as people that love real estate, you're going to enjoy the functionality of the site. I've never seen anything like it that is as interactive and as simplistic as it is. So to me, as opposed to a syndication old school where we used to get a big stack of papers of 400 pages deep, to be able to scroll through opportunities and to post opportunities in the format that you guys do, I think is pretty extraordinary as well. So,
well, thank you.
I'm giving you a big head tonight, Doug. Let me just ask in closing here, Doug, maybe could you tell if you had one piece of advice to anyone looking to get funded through this format to increase their success, what would you say that advice would be?
Through the crowdfunding format, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you wanted to give really your best paragraph to anybody who's a real estate investor out there that's going to use Patch of Land, that wants to work with you guys and wants to make their deals attractive, wants to make sure that they're, number one, going to get funded by you, and you're the one who I think makes that ultimate call for the most part. And then not only that, but they're going to get funded by the crowd. What would your advice to them be?
Best advice I can give is to be professional, be organized. Our best borrowers are the guys who take this as a serious commitment, and it's their business. It's what they do. Again, we work with experienced investors, and the guys who are taking their work seriously and are highly organized. Those are the guys who make the process so much easier. I mean, we can close a deal in 10 days, but honestly, the hardest part of the job is chasing docs. When we need docs, the quicker you can get them to us, the quicker you can close. So, I mean, I think that's really the biggest piece of advice I can give. Just keep hunting and keep bringing deals to us.
Fantastic, I like it. Well, guys, I couldn't be more proud to be able to present Patch of Land to you as an option, and I'm amazed by the structure that they have and how simplistic they make it. You can see I've got up on the screen here the URL that we gave out earlier, which is patchofland.com/listed-by. If you want to watch a replay of tonight's webinar, the recorded portion that we did with Jason, that's already up live. We're actually going to have the Q&A up there later as well. And then probably most importantly, you can see here, if you go to that page, you're also going to get the handbook that they have here as well, which I think is pretty valuable. I'm going to post that link here as well. So again, our mission statement here is always to provide all of you in our network not only with access to deals and strategies that make sense, but to connect you with people that can really help you get deals done. And I don't know if that's ever been more true than what we've done here with Patch of Land. So, Doug, thank you so much for being with us and sharing this with the group tonight.
Well, thank you, Stephen, for putting this all together and for inviting me on. Your listeners are great. They had some really great questions. I love having active audience participants. It makes my job fun, and I enjoy talking with borrowers and answering questions and coming to solutions and helping people succeed in their business. So thank you profusely for this opportunity.
Fantastic, my friend. Well, thank you very much. We'll see you on the next one, and guys, have a great night out there, and we'll see you again soon.